Hello, I'm Luke Wright and this is thespeakerscorner.co.uk. I've been here at Word of Mouth doing a gig organised by my very good friend Byron Vincent, and I did a set which was mostly my new show, which is called Junior Favourite Poet, but I missed the long, serious, depressing one out in the middle of it because it felt a bit like, everyone was having a nice time and I didn't want to ruin it. I thought tonight was really good, actually. I thought it was nice. In fact, it went so well that I got a bit too into it, and I thought maybe, I actually fell to my knees twice during the set, which I think is probably one time too many in your average poetry set. So no, I thought it went really well. It was really nice. I enjoyed it. One of the things I do is I programme and I host the Poetry Arena at Latitude Festival, and that is in about 4 days' time. We're in the middle of July 2012 at the moment, for those of you watching many years in the future and looking back at the ancient archives of the Speakers Corner.co.uk. So we're about to launch into what will be the 7th Latitude Festival, and the 7th time that I've organised and hosted the Poetry Arena. So yeah, looking forward to that. It's always a bit of a stressful time because we've got nigh on 60 poets coming down, and inevitably someone always pulls out with about 3 years to go, and then you've got to move things around and find new people to fill the slot and stuff. So I'm keying myself up for that, but generally feeling quite happy. It's a nice time of year. I'm always busy. I'm doing the Edinburgh Festival. Yeah, I'm only doing a week because my wife and I had a second child this year, so I'm not going for the full month because that'd just be unfair on everyone. So I'm just going for a week at the end of August, and I'm doing the show up there, and then I'll be touring the show around. I've got after Edinburgh, I'm going to Australia to do a week of shows of my last show, Cynical Ballads, and that'll be the end of that one. So I'll say goodbye to that forever. And then I've got to start writing the 2013 show, which I haven't quite decided what that'll be yet. I've got a feeling what it might be. Who knows? The spoken word scene.
If there is such a thing.
Well, no, there is such a thing. There is such a thing as the spoken word scene, and there has been for a long time. And I've been saying in interviews for about 6 or 7 years now. It's getting better and better, and I think that's true. There are more and more poets. When I first started doing spoken word, I don't use that. I'm a poet. I just happen to be a bit of a mouthy one. When I started doing poetry, I started doing live poetry. I didn't know anyone my age doing it. My best mate, Ross Sutherland, was doing it. He's 2 years older than me. There was me and Ross, and we didn't know anyone. The youngest person we knew doing it was a guy called Niall Sullivan, who's still doing his poetry. He's excellent. And then I met a woman called Jenny Lindsay, who was about our age. This is when we were about sort of 21, 20. That's our age, and that was like, oh, and someone else doing it. And then I remember one day when I was about sort of 22. Becoming aware of a man called Inowa Ellams who had started doing poetry. He was 18, and I'd never seen anyone who was younger than me do poetry at that stage. And now there's stacks of people who are 18, 16, 15 doing poetry. There's the Shake the Dust finals just happened this weekend, and there's loads of young blood people doing it, and it's fantastic. So I think, yeah, it was great. I think we're in a healthy situation. There's lots of talent coming through, and so we're in a good state. Well, I don't know. I think spoken word is a useful catch-all phrase, an umbrella phrase to describe, the various things people do, which are, monologues and performance poetry and not performance poetry, and and sort of hip hop that doesn't have a beat behind it, and all these sort of things. Some people describe themselves as spoken word artists. That seems to me like a ludicrous mouthful. But I think it's useful. I think when spoken word is used as a sort of catch-all phrase, as it is on iTunes, for example, then it is sort of useful. But from my point of view, I write poems. I sit down, I write them, and all my work, or nearly all my work, scans, and it uses metre and it uses rhymes. So very much I'm using sort of techniques that Tennyson used, that Sir Henry Newbolt used, that Keats used. So it's just different era, different audience. Well, tonight I should say was called Nasty Little Night, and it's named in honour of Nasty Little Press, which is the publishing house that I run, that I own. It's not much to own. It's some stock of books. And I was on tonight with John Osborne and Byron Vincent, who I publish, and I hope maybe in 20 years' time, if you're watching this on the Speakers Corners archives, which I very much hope are there in 20 years' time, maybe we'll have published a few more books. But we've published 15 books so far, and you know, I think people tend to, certain previous generations have written off spoken word as something not worth. It's ephemeral and only ephemeral, and I don't think that's true. And there's lots of good words that deserve to be recorded. Maybe the page is obsolete. Who knows in 20 years' time? But we like to make little books of it, and tonight was about that, really. I'm Luke Wright, and this is thespeakerscorner.co.uk.